Hi guys, and welcome to the fourth part of this video tutorial for creating first-person weapons for CryEngine 3 SDK. In this part of the tutorial we're actually going to have a look at creating some animations and exporting them, and the things to be aware of, that I've kind of understand to be aware of. There might be more, but what we're going to do is we're going to look at creating an idle animation for the character holding the weapon. I'm not the greatest animator in the world, so it's just going to be a case of creating just a few animations just to show you guys, who hopefully are far superior animators to myself, can go away then and work your magic on first-person weapons. Okay, so what we're going to need to do first, we actually need to go to this animations file, which is actually in the game animations folder, and we need to edit that because we need to put an entry for our weapon in here. I've got one in here for my Uzi that I was working on before. I've actually provided you with that file as well, I believe. Let me just have a quick look. I could probably just do a quick search for it actually. Yeah, there we go. So what we're looking for really is going to want to copy all of this here, and I'm going to want to paste this in here like that, and we're going to want to change some bits and bobs for it. We're going to want to change the names of some of these directories that are in here, like that, and we're going to want to change the name of the file for the actual weapon, and same in here. Okay, that should hopefully work now. So I'm just going to give that a quick save. That should allow us to export our animations out from 3ds Max without too much trouble now. So I'm just going to give that a close. I'm just going to close Sandbox as well. I don't know what's going on with my copy of Sandbox today, but it keeps on doing weird things. So okay, let's have a quick look now. What we want to do is we're going to want to make sure that within our game animations folder, within our build of CryEngine, that there's a folder in here called Uzi Silenced. That's where all of our .caf files are going to go. So I mean, if I just have a quick look in that Uzi content folder that I've provided, inside of there you've got all these .caf files, which are all the animations that I created for that Uzi. So I mean, you can have a look at those and play about with them. But what we're going to want to do is create some new ones for this Uzi Silenced. So what we're actually going to create is an idle animation for it, and then we're going to have a quick look at how that idle animation looks within the sandbox. Okay, so I think what we need to do to begin with is I'm just going to quit. There's a couple of ways that you can do this. As far as I'm aware, you can do all of your animations for all of the different animations in the same file, and then export them as sub-ranges. If you want to, I found that I can't get enough control over the keyframes when I'm animating if I do that. So what I do is I just create new files. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this one Uzi Silenced Idle, and just give that a save. And that means I've got like a master file as well that I can always go and revert back to if desperately needed. I've also found as well that when I've created the idle pose, it's a lot easier to reuse this pose for other animations for the weapons as well. I mean, but that might just be me. So yeah, what I'm going to do is first of all I'm just going to set time configuration. So we've got probably going to make this, I don't know, 40 frames long. That's just for argument's sake, just make it 40 frames long. And the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to pose the all of this here, so that he's holding the weapon. Bear in mind this is going to be a bit quick and a bit nasty because I'm just trying to do it for demonstration purposes for this tutorial. So I'm not going to be spending an awful lot of time doing it. So I'm just going to have a look at just posing this guy. Now you can use these helpers to move the rig around. You'll quickly learn this as you have a play about with it. It's a bit. I've found it a little bit awkward to work with, but you know that's probably just my lack of experience with animation, if I'm completely honest. So yeah, if you just keep on. Just going to pose this initially, and then we're going to set a key, which is going to be kind of our base pose. And then we're just going to have a look at. I mean, the other thing that you need to think about as well is: are you happy with the position of your weapon at this point? because if you're not, then it's probably the best time to grab the weapon and maybe move the weapon back slightly if you want it slightly closer to the screen, which I think I do actually. I'm probably going to want my weapon slightly closer to the screen and slightly closer to the center, like that. So I'm just going to go and grab all of these bits and bobs. I'm just going to position them as I go. It's not going to be perfect at all. So yeah, so it looks like he's gripping the weapon. Just going to have a look at positioning him so it looks like he's holding the weapon in the right place. So just going to pop this hand over here. So he is kind of gripping this foregrip as well. Or something to that effect anyway. Right, okay. That's pretty awful. Okay, right, it's just I'm a bit more of a tinker about with trying to sort it out, because I think it's me. I think I've just pushed the rig in the wrong kind of place. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where we want it. So yeah, that's kind of, let's just say, just for argument's sake, that's just kind of our base pose for where we want it to be. I'm just going to select all these bits here. I'm just going to move the slider along, say frame 4, and I'm just going to set a key for the location for all those. And then I'm just going to grab that key. Just going to, everything selected again. Just going to grab that key there, and I'm just going to clone it, holding Control. Sorry, holding Shift. Just going to clone that across to frame 40. Just going to grab this and I'm just going to move that to position into frame 0. So there should be no difference now with kind of where we are. Now, all I'm going to want to do now is just to get kind of a light swaying motion in. I mean, that pose is nowhere near perfect. The fingers need sorting. I've done something strange with the arm. You're going to want to spend a lot more time over this yourself when you're actually working with it. But say, for instance, if you grab this helper here, and then we want to find the one for the weapon as well. There. What we want to do now is I'm just going to switch auto key on, and I'm just going to have a bit of a play about with making this guy sway just slightly. I'm going to do it in increments of like 10 frames, I think. And then I should have that on there. Should maybe move it there. Now, with this viewport kind of active, if you just press play now, you should see that kind of. I mean, that's really way too fast, but it's just to illustrate the point of spending just a couple of minutes. You can just start to get an animation together. So let's say that's our animation for our idle. Just going to give that a save. Just deselect everything in the scene here. In my utilities panel again with the CryEngine 3 exporter, just going to go down to here where I can start to see CAF export. What I'm going to want to do is click on Edit Subranges, and it'll bring up this. Now I'm going to want to click New Range. You want to be creating CAF files which mirror the naming conventions that are inside of the char params. So because we're making an idle, we want to use idle right 01. You want to create all these. You have to use these naming conventions. You can change them, but you have to make some changes throughout the files. But I'm just using the standard ones that are here for now. So just going to grab. So I'm going to call this one idle underscore right underscore 01. Now I want my range of frames to be 0 to 40 because that's how many frames that we've got here. So I'm just going to type 40 into there. Click OK. I'm just going to double check that just by clicking on Edit Subranges. So yeah, we've got that there. Next thing to do is make sure that you have in here in the CAF export root selected. Now root is that one, if you remember when I pointed out earlier on, you've got root right here, which is kind of the root to rule them all. back over here. You're going to want to make sure that's selected. For some reason you haven't got that selected, you just need to click on the route or find it using select by name, and then all you want to do is add selected. But we've already got that in there, so I'm just going to click export bones. I'm going to go into the relevant. You have to go to the relevant folder where you're going to put your animations. I'm just going to call this idle _right _01, and hopefully this will allow me to export my animations now. So yeah, that's now exported that for us. So the next thing, we just want to double check that that's saved into the right folder. So if we go in here, we've got idle _right 01 calf. And if you again go into that char params just for a sec, you can see that that's the same name as the idle. So if I now come out of there, just going to need to fire up Sandbox. And just going to go into here. I'm just going to fire up the forest environment again. Just have a look at that, and we're just going to see whether or not our animation's actually going to play. Hopefully, we should have our weapon being held in a slightly more normal position than it was before, and we should have a bit of sway when we're idling. So just give it a sec again. Okay, I'm going to turn all the bits off I don't need. There we go. You can see, like, now he's holding the weapon where he should do. Animation is looping quite badly, and also the fingers need work. But you can see that now that weapon is being held in the right kind of place. You know, we can fire it. There's no reload animations or anything. But as I was saying before, if you want to see which animations are missing, if you have a look inside the console, whether that be actually when you're playing in editor, or if you've got the console already open, if I get this here, you can see as I fire the weapon, it's telling me that, you know, fire bullets right 01 does not exist. So it's going to tell you if it's trying to use an animation that you if say for instance if an animation isn't playing or something on the weapon, and you can't figure out why. It might be because you may have named the animation incorrectly or something like that. It's going to tell you in the console here which animation it's trying to play, and it can't find. So you know, you'll know, you can start to use it for process elimination if you've got to troubleshoot stuff. But you see, we've got this weapon working anyway. All you need to do now is obviously master animation, which is a big step. Which is going to be nice and challenging in itself. Maybe tweak your materials, and maybe get all the additional animations in there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. I'll try and cover the additional areas that I've talked about as I've gone through these tutorials. So things like attachments and other bits and bobs. As we kind of go on. I might also do some additional mini tutorials to go alongside this with other areas that I haven't covered, because I still haven't covered some of the stuff to talk about creating your own files from using the character editor. So saving out some files from that, rather than rather than actually having your having them to create them manually. I might do that later on, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We've got some animation working. We've got our weapon exporter, got materials on it. Yeah, if you've got any questions, either email me if you've managed to get this through my personal site, or alternatively just contact me on the CryEngine forums. I'll try and help you out as much as I can. So yeah, I'd also like to thank guys who've actually made tutorials for weapons in the past as well that have really helped me out. So yeah, cheers to those guys who've put the effort in to make those as well. So yeah, okay, if you've got any questions, give me a shout.